folks. Welcome back to Tips for Twelfthies. I'm your. What am I? Who am I? Well, these are the questions for later. But for you, I am whoever you want me to be. Your bhaiya, your mentor, your friendly neighborhood philosopher, or cult leader. I don't care, actually. As long as you're getting something from here, I don't care. Just take the best, ignore the rest, right? So anyway, we got some good stuff for you, but a little bit about myself, okay, before we get started. I just got done with my entrance exams and stuff. I just have a small one left, but it's like everyday stuff, right? So I'm a bit more free, but there's like so many things, so many stuff to do, and it's like I'm trying to relive, regain the time that I spent in like learning and preparing for exams and so on. And which is the reason I'm making this podcast for you, so that you don't have to go through the same process yourself and spend so much time, researching and doing all of these things, which I can just tell it to you, right? So all of this stuff is for you. So great. And I hope you share this podcast to your friends, to your family, and, your loved ones, I guess. So yeah, that would really mean a lot to me. So again, let's get back to the topic of this episode. So I am sure you're done like with your like summer break. Not sure. Some schools have summer breaks on different times, but if they're here, okay, if you're done with it, then great. This is because like the topic that we're going to be talking is school. Yes. Today we're going to be talking about how you can utilize your school hours better. Because honestly, well, school is not that great, because if you want to learn something, okay, if you're a very curious person, very ambitious, very eager to learn, school is not that great. It may not even be helpful at all. For some people it's a miracle. It's a very good, it's a privilege to learn at the school, and I cannot deny that. Definitely it's still a very privilege. But for a lot, my friends and me, it's not that great. There are a lot of causes for that. Maybe you're too ambitious, maybe you're too curious, maybe the student teacher ratio is very high, maybe, and I think it's the probable cause, the curriculum is really, really bad. I mean, I can talk for hours on the Indian education system, and I'll never get tired of it. It's really subpar, all right? It's subpar, and it will take a lot of time for us to fix. Okay, it's our responsibility to fix, because, well, the people who are running it now, they are getting old. They're getting old, all right? It's like hard for them to understand us and our needs and our abilities. So it might take some time, but till then, the good thing is, if you have the big picture in your mind, in your head, and if you know a little bit about how the system works, the rules and all, then everything can be optimized. All right. If you have the like junoon, is what they say, right? Junoon, to learn something and get better at it and improve your future, career wise, or any livelihood ideas, scope. If you want to improve that, then it can be optimized. And today I have some pointers here to give you an idea of what you might want to do in case you want to utilize your school hours better, so that it's not just sitting there listening the lecture, which is important, but yeah, it's boring sometimes, right? It's boring, and then it's not always very good. I mean, a lot of students I know, my juniors, my friends, it's like school is boring, right? So here's how you utilize your school hours better. All right, let's get to the first tip. Okay, I'm not going to number it because it's going to be all over the place. So, all right, again, the show notes and the transcripts for this episode and the previous one will be available on my website, and I'll link that in the description, so you can check that if in case you're if in case you don't get what I'm trying to say, because sometimes I speak too fast and pronounce things bad. So you might want to check the written thingy, all right, written blog or post out. So yeah, the first tip: do all of your homework in school. Never leave it for home. All right? Well, like the thing is, if you're in science, especially in science, okay, my whole thing is the podcast is science stream specific, but some things, a lot of things actually can be used by other streams and other any student in general. So but this one and most of the points will be science specific. So tip one, to all of your homework in school, it applies to anyone, right? It applies to any student. So anyway, do your homework in school. Never keep it for home. If you do, you'll miss out on a lot of good things. Imagine one thing, all right? If like somehow you're given like 5 questions to do for homework, okay? If you're given 5 questions to do, you can literally solve them in your school. You don't have to keep it for home, because if you do, it will take like 5 minutes to sit down on the desk, 5 minutes to bring out the copies and set up your whole pens and all stationery systems, whatever, and then solve the problems. It's too much work, too much. The setup cost is really high. The time spent will be higher. But if you do it right then and there at school, okay, at school at that time, you're saving yourself a lot of time at home, which you can better utilize to maybe building a new skill and working on a new hobby or something, or just talking with your friends. All right, you can do that. So do that. Do all of your homework at school as much as possible. Very, very useful. Second stuff, utilize extra periods, extra time, periods, schedules to do something that matters to you, which increases the chances of you doing something great. Now, here's what I mean by that. You're going to have certain periods, for example, your art or library. I don't know what periods are very, useless to an extent. Okay. If any authority is listening to this, don't get me wrong, but there is a certain utility associated with a period. For example, the chemistry period is of higher utility than a library period, for example. All right. So this is what I mean by that. So you should utilize those low utility, low usefulness wale periods to do something that matters to you. And here's what I mean by that. So, for example, you can read a book on a certain topic that interests you. Maybe, I don't know, string theory, or maybe like I don't know, Newton's laws, who cares? Or maybe just a fiction book because you're interested in English or something. Maybe you're interested in Shakespeare, you're reading Shakespeare. Or maybe you're interested in writing, so you're writing, drafting a new blog or a post. Or maybe you're into startups and business, then you're working on a new idea. Or maybe music, whatever, right? Just there are things that you can do at that moment which do not need much energy, a lot of mental power bandwidth, so you can do that. It has to be very small, something like reading a book. It does not need much power, right? And drafting a blog, something that comes to you naturally, right? Naturally. So do something like that, and which increases the chances of you doing something great, because now it's like 2026. Not education is not the only way to get better at something, to earn something. All right, and to succeed in this world, you have to become like polymath is a very strong word, but you have to acquire a lot of skills, right? Acquire a lot of skills. So by utilizing these extra periods, you can do that. So next tip. The only point of school, all right, the only good point of school is, according to me, is the social aspect. All right, you can meet new people, you can make new friends, you can meet juniors, your teachers, and authority figures, whatever. So make use of it. It's a good thing, right? Man is a social animal. That's what Aristotle said. You should use that. I feel in my experience, all the 12 years that I spent in school, the most memorable parts were with my friends, were with my teachers. All right, which that not my math class, even though I love math. Math is my favorite subject. Not the computer science class, whatever. No, friends, teachers, people is what matters. All right. So take part in things that have social aspect in it, like doing a research project with your friend, and which I did, by the way, with my best friend. Very nice. It was very fun. And or something like teaching a friend or something, or talking to your teacher about the new idea that you have. Not these things like houses, house extracurricular singing stuff. Yes, these are important, but these are not the best things you can do. Good things is what comes naturally, that is not like comes from the top, right? Comes from the higher ups. Okay, it's not the orders don't have like too much utility in my life, at least. All right, so the make use of social aspect of your school. All right, so this will be very nice. Next up, okay, it's a reminder. I mean, I'm out of school, but it's a reminder. It should be a reminder to you that school. Think of school, all right. Think of school as your job without pay. You're not getting salary. You're not getting salary. You're just sent there to do some stuff, get a formal degree, get your formal education, right? Just like adults. For adults, their job isn't what defines them. It's what they do and strive for beyond it. All right? Like they have a job in adults. Let's think of my mom, for example, right? She is a senior lecturer at Diet, and which is like equivalent of a professor, and but she's not defined by it, right? She makes a lot of new things. She likes to cook. She likes to craft things, and she's the house craftsman for in our house. So she's the craftsman. So she likes that, right? She likes that. And for example, me, my when I was in school, I was not defined by my school. All right, I was making podcasts, making videos, and so on. So it's like that. You are not obliged to just think about school and only that. No, you are allowed to strive for something beyond it. So just remember that. All right. If you're an ambitious, curious person, then remember that. It's the big picture. All right. Okay. The next tip, teach your friends something new, no matter how small it is. No matter how small, even if you're bad at studies. I don't care. All right. Even if you're bad at studies, you should teach your friend something new. All right. Not something new. You can just teach your friend something. All right. Not new, but something. It might be an old concept, but you're trying to teach it so you understand it better, right? It's their good and also yours. It's like a win-win situation. You can teach them a new concept, new idea, sure, great. Or maybe, you just, talk with them about something entirely different than your syllabus. Talk about current affairs or general knowledge, and then something that is like, who won the Nobel Prize this year, or whatever, right? Some new ideas and new things or old things, whatever you want. But teach your friend something new, because when you teach someone, you encode that content into your brain better, and it helps you build a better memory and understand those things better. You might have heard all about Feynman technique or like ultra learning, or these things are related. This is why I'm telling you to teach your friends something. This is how you can, it's a very good utilization of your school time. All right. Because, yeah. Okay. Next up, we have a controversial one. All right. And that is limit games period. Okay. Hear me out. Like if you're given 3 games period in a week, all right, in my opinion, you should play in 2 of those, but do something that helps you out actually in the other one. Okay, games is absolute necessary. It's a necessity. It's important to have a good physical health. I have an episode planned on this topic, so stay tuned for that. How exercise is the key to being a good student and all right. But yeah, in this scenario, if you're given 3-4 games, then you should play in 2, play in 3. All right, but do something for at least one of them. All right, do something. It might be just asking your teacher about the doubt you have, or maybe you're trying to finish up a backlog, or completely read through a book or something. Okay, something intellectual, something that will help out in the future. Because, well, okay, it is very controversial, very controversial. I don't feel completely good about this, but hey, this is something that has to be done. Okay, you have to make certain sacrifices. Making those sacrifices is not bad. All right, you are not classified as a bad person if you just don't play for one games period, right? You still have your friends, and friends, like, okay, here's my experience with my friends. They're really easy to, like, manana, right? In Hindi, manana. They're really easy to persuade, right? So it's fine. It's fine. Okay, it's fine. So keep this in mind. Maybe just maybe this can be the key for you to get better at your studies, if that's the case, right? Okay, again, tying up with this one, it's about being a nerd, all right? In my opinion, being a nerd is not bad. Being a nerd is defined by being shameless about trying to learn something, trying to geek out on things. And that gives you an opportunity to try things, do a lot of things without shame. Isn't that wonderful? Like, okay, if someone calls you nerd, I mean, you have so many things you can do now, right? You can so many things. You can just come on, man. You can just make a goddamn program, a new entire program. Like, go on graphic designing and geek out on that. Like, talk about CPUs, GPUs, and who cares? All right, being a nerd is not bad in my opinion. All right, it can be very useful. So this is a identity, this is a label that the society gives us, and usually when I was a kid it was bad. Okay, being a nerd was classified bad. "Oh, this is a nerd, he's a geek, it's bad. All right, it's been uncool. All right, it's not cool. No, it's not like that. Okay, being a nerd is cool as well. You just have to find the right people who recognize that in you. So it might take some time, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, the next step is optimize the hell out of subjects that are super, super easy. And these easy subjects, for example, are informatics practices, physical education, and there might be some others like painting. Yes, painting. All of these things, these are main subjects, all right? These are core subjects that you get your marks for boards, but they are super easy. You don't need to really study for them, all right? Because I remember what I did in my IP boards. I just studied for 3 weeks, right? No, not. Oh my God, not 3 weeks, 3 days. Okay, I studied for 3 days, literally before exam. I did not study anything. Okay, trust me on that, because I already finished my entire syllabus when I was done with my summer break last time. I finished I speed runned my IP syllabus in 2 days, literally 2 days, and I started studying for when I was in my boards for 3 days, 3 days before the exam. So that's it, and I got a 98. Well, 2 marks is a random, you cannot calculate it. I made a few mistakes, I agree with that, but 98 with 3 days of studying is not a small feat, which says something about that subject that you can. It's easy, okay, if and only if you optimize it right. You cannot say like, okay, Nibir Bhaiya said that it's very easy, I will not study. No, you have to study, but in the right way, so that the time spent on that thingy is less, but you are getting a lot out of it. Okay, intensity. Similarly, with physical education, I was I'm really grateful to have such a teacher, Kaju sir, and he was amazing. He taught us very nice in a packed manner that's full with information, but we gotta understand it so much. And there are a lot of teachers like that available on YouTube as well. So anything, you can just compress them, learn them better, learn them in a way that takes less of your time, and more gives you more output. All right, so okay, great, awesome. So the next tip, this is an important one, because this is what you do in classes, actual classes. You should pay attention to your teachers, even if you don't like it. I know Not every day will be the same. Not every day will you have the same energy, right? But try doing this, all right? Try doing this because I know a lot of my friends, a lot of my juniors, they have very, very, very small attention spans, especially when a teacher is studying, all right? Me included. I'm guilty as well. But think of it like training your attention span because like it's 2026, it's becoming a kind of a pandemic, the attention pandemic. I don't know if someone else has coined it or not, but I coined it. All right, I coined it. It's the attention pandemic. All right, so you should train your attention spans. It might be very very boring to just listen to a teacher without whispering with your friend or talking with your friend, but getting better at being bored is how you focus better. It's how you become more mindful and concentrate better at your studies or whatever you're working on. Right? Moreover, you get to remain on good terms with the teacher and also get to learn something, right? Because I know that if you don't pay attention to something that they said, you're not gonna learn it. You're gonna learn it when you study it yourself or maybe in your tuition classes, whatever. But it's good to like have an idea of what they're saying, right? Like I remember when I was learning coordination compounds in organic chemistry, I was learning a few things from my teacher, and that helped out a lot. Even though I did not understand it at the time of the lecture, but I understood it. I tried. My brain was doing the work, right? Like I did not know it. My conscious brain doesn't know it. The subconscious brain is what's working, right? So it was working, and it tried to connect those things. Okay, when I was actually learning it after the lecture, right? It connected with those things, so it helps a lot. And if you're paying attention, the teacher will like you, right? And it's important as well for a teacher to like you. So yes, correct. Not that important, but important when some things have to be done. Like, I should not say it on podcast, but like, when maybe you did not do a homework, okay? For like, you forgot to do your homework. So you can slip out of that, you did not get scolded much. You get it? So being on a good side, helps maintain a certain reputation. Okay. But once in a while, this is the next step. Once in a while, bend the rules a bit, all right? Bend the rules slightly, maybe get into trouble, all right? Maybe get chased by a teacher or bunk a class. These are the moments that you'll remember it later, okay? That you'll very enjoy thinking about. But be careful. Do not do anything dangerous. Do not be like my friends and put sodium in water and go boom. Okay, don't do that. And don't quote me though, all right? Because I'm just saying, just do harmless pranks, harmless things, okay? Harmless stuff that you'll remember, okay? All right, next thing. Maybe this is also a reminder, not a tip, all right? Reminder again. Having fun is hard in school because it feel to me when I was studying, it felt like it was a machine, like an Orwellian machine trying to suppress me and all my hobbies, all my dreams, trying to just all like diminish everything, right? But you should, in my opinion, in hindsight, I should have tried better not to feel like it, okay? And I should have been more resilient and persevere through all those annoyances and stressors, because it's not the school, all right? School has nothing to do with who you become, all right? Even, yes, it has to do a lot, but, the career-wise or anything or something like that, it's not big thingy. What matters, as I said, is the social aspect of the people you meet, right? So, but not the education in general, right? People who are homeschooled, they do very well. People from village areas, they also do very well, right? You don't have to go to a school to be better at something, right? But anyway, the point of saying this is you should try to remember the big picture, whatever your goal is. For me, my goal is to do something great, do something that matters. And for that, I don't think school plays a lot of thingy. So even if I'm angry at the school, it will not solve my problems. Being better at what I do will, right? So being angry at the school for it being very suppressive, teachers not understanding you and so on, it will not solve your problem, bro. It has been happening since time immemorial, since everything started. It has been the way. But being better at what you do will solve the problem, right? Being better at what your abilities are, at what you can do. With some of these tips that I've given you, you can optimize your school life better, right? And communicate, actually communicate with your teachers about your dreams, about your ambitions, about the things that you like. Chances are that they are also very frustrated about the education system. Actually, they are. Being a teacher is not a very easy job. It's not their job to scold you. It's not their job to like punish you. It's just that they are also very very tired with how things are, because in things are not nice right now. Okay, things are not very nice. So yeah, I mean, sympathize with them, right? Sympathize with them, and you'll not regret it. Yeah. All right. I think that's it for this episode. And let me know if you have any particular tip on how you want to utilize your school hours better. So I'll very much like that. Again, the show notes, the transcripts, whatever you want to call, will be on my website. I will link it in my description. You should check it out. The website. I recently revamped it, and designing and stuff. I did that. So yeah, please check it out. All right. And send all of your queries, send all of your questions, anything you want to ask me, anything you want to know about the class 12 life, boards life, pre-boards, post-boards, right? Because there's a huge difference between what happens before boards and after. You got all the exams, all the stuff. Anything you have in mind, just email me at pod@nibirsan.org, pod at Nibirsan, NIBIRSAN.org, or at my Discord, which the username is Nibirsan only. So NIBIRSAN. You can do that. Send me stuff. I really like that. It really makes my day. And you should share this podcast and just enjoy. Yes. Take care. Stay frosty. I'm gonna see ya in the next one.